Welcome to another episode of Behind the Dreamers with the Starter Girls. I'm Jennifer Loading.
And I'm Brianna Drillis, and today we are talking to the achievers, the creators, the dreamers, and the magic makers.
These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. Today's episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Photographer of Glad Models Agency. If you are here in the Dallas or surrounding area and looking for some photography work, check out Walt Mills. You can learn more about him and his work at photosbywalt.com.
And a special shout out to Upbeat Media Productions for all of your full event production needs. If that's something that you're looking for, just let us know and we will connect you to Chloe.
Awesome. All right. We're in studio today
Yes,
at Upbeat Media Productions.
right.
Back in
We
studio
are
today.
at Upbeat Media Productions as we speak.
We are. And we've got a guest in studio today. We're super excited. It's awesome.
Woo-hoo!
All right. So we got to introduce our guest here, Malcolm Farmer, President and General Manager of the Texas Legends. All right. Having been with the team since the inaugural season, Farmer has seen sales grow incrementally year after year, leading a staff that has been awarded first place in nearly every category for 8 straight years. Farmer got his start in the sports industry as a manager with the Notre Dame's men's basketball team. In 4 seasons with the Fighting Irish, the team made 3 NCAA tournament appearances and a trip to the Sweet 16. Following that, Farmer was a graduate assistant for 2 years at Western Illinois, where he helped lead the team to their best conference finish in 6 years. He moved into the role of general manager with the Legends in 2016, and the team has seen consecutive seasons of most wins and most NBA call-ups in franchise history. The Legends have been pioneers in the G League and in the sports industry as a whole, being one of the first teams in the league to sell a jersey sponsorship, the first in the league to have their own team foundation, the first team to hang a car from the rafters of the arena, the first team to wear a different jersey at every home game, and the first professional sports team to have a title sponsor of a foreign state.
We need a shorter bio.
We do, but this is awesome. Last piece, under his leadership, the business office finished the 2017-18 season atop the league in every category and earned top 5 franchise.
Nobody really cares about any of that stuff.
It's good
but
stuff.
I am two of you. Do I fall as an achiever, a creator, a magic maker, or a dreamer? Which one am I?
Which one?
I think you're an achiever. Don't you
Yeah.
We're going to find out, I guess. I'm
think
not sure I meet the
achiever.
criteria for any of these things, but you have me here nonetheless. So here we go.
And welcome, because we're really happy you're here and we're excited to talk to you.
I'm excited to see how this goes as well and see which one of those categories I fall into at the end.
So awesome. That's so awesome. Hey, well, your bio is great. I did shorten it down. It was longer than that, but you got
Whoever
a lot
wrote
of
that
cool
thing
stuff.
is he's got too many words in
Too
there.
many words in there. Yeah.
Vocabulary.
I know
so-
sometimes we get these bios, and I tell you, it's hard because you got to like narrow down to a few things, and you really can't cover everything in a 30-minute conversation.
Sure.
So we're like, hey, we got to get it out there. But
Like
we're
the
glad you're here,
Cliff
Malcolm.
Notes. Cliff
And we
Notes
know
version.
we know you fit into one of those categories. So, but here's the thing. Listen, wherever you fit on that spectrum, here's the deal. I think there's a common trait among all people that are in that space, and it's that persistence and determination to do the best at whatever they do. And so we bring a lot of different people on the podcast to really show our listeners that, hey, it doesn't really matter what walk of life you came from or where you're pursuing. We're all just trying to do the best we can at whatever it is that we do, right?
Absolutely.
And so we're glad you're here.
You know, along those lines, a phrase that we use is that, mediocrity is unacceptable.
Yeah.
And you just, don't lower your standard and keep pursuing greatness and just don't accept mediocrity.
Yeah,
And so it's right along those same lines in everything we do.
absolutely.
I was literally walking on my walk run yesterday, and I was literally thinking, raise your standards, raise your standards, so that just, I love that
Were you trying to
just
walk
said
faster?
that. Yeah, raise your standards, raise your standards.
I'm teasing you.
3 more minutes, 3 more minutes.
3 more minutes. Yes. And that's the thing. I think everybody that comes on our show really shares that same or embodies that same kind of sentiment about.
And drive too,
Yeah, absolutely.
to rise up.
Okay, Malcolm. So I want to start this off really quick. I want you to tell us how this came about. How did you get introduced to the Texas Legends? And obviously your background's in sports, so you've been in this arena for a while. So how did you get into this position?
This position with the Legends, the Legends started up 13 years ago. I was there from the proverbial day zero before the team was announced and got introduced to ownership by a mutual friend whom I knew from my days coaching at SMU. And, I had a little runway from SMU, and so I just jumped in and started, frankly, volunteering wherever I could, called a glorified intern position. And as opportunities presented themselves, I guess they thought that I could handle it or be a good fit. And it just kept growing from there. If I'm being totally honest, which is the goal here today, is
Right.
full transparency, total honesty. When I first came to the Legends, I had no intent of being there 2 years later, much less 13 years later. My initial thought process was, I'm a college basketball guy. I've been in that for 10 years. I'm going to, do this for a year, and then let's see where the college basketball carousel, what openings there are, what opportunities, and I'll jump back on that ride. And that year went by. I enjoyed what we did with the Legends. I looked at the opportunities within college basketball, was offered a few, and I just decided that they weren't quite the right fit. So I'm just going to do this one more year, and then we'll see what, the right opportunity will come along in college basketball, and away I'll go. And frankly, by the end of that second year, I wasn't really even looking at college basketball anymore. Having been in that world, I certainly still see opportunities, and people ask me occasionally, hey, would you consider this? Would you consider that? But I really haven't looked at any of those opportunities for at least the past 10 years, because I've grown to really enjoy what we do with the Legends, both on the court and perhaps more importantly off the court. And I don't think that I could replace that with anything at this point.
That is so fascinating. So you were with Notre Dame, and then was it Illinois? Was there
Western Illinois,
and then did I hear you say SMU as well?
Florida Atlantic, and then SMU.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Yeah, that was my college basketball
Sure.
days. About 10 years in college basketball in various capacities.
Right. That's incredible.
Yeah, I shortened the bio.
Yeah.
We left a few tidbits out of there. We could have done all of it about
Yeah, we don't need to do all that. No one really cares. It's
Yeah.
boring stuff.
Yeah. Well, not everybody. Some do. Some
Were you responsible for the recruiting as well when you were with those teams, high school student recruit, like basketball student?
I was
recruiting?
involved in the recruiting at all places at SMU in various capacities, and one of those capacities was recruiting at that time. And that was something that I didn't love. And so that became part of, the transition out. Was like, I don't, people go into their careers, you go to college, you have a dream of what you want to do. And very few people actually end up doing that for their life. Like, they may do it for a period, but then you pivot and you adjust. And, in high school and in college, I wanted to be a college basketball head coach. That was my dream. That was my goal. And I was on a path, having worked in college basketball for 10 years, where I certainly had seen what that would look like. I didn't get to be a head coach, but I came to the realization that I'm not sure I really want to do that. There's parts of that job that perhaps aren't what I thought they were. Perhaps I don't think that my personality, the things that I enjoy, are going to work as well as I thought they would. And you learn, no matter what the career path, you learn more as you get into it, but what that career path really is, not necessarily what you see on TV or reading a book, but like the nitty gritty of it. And I came to the realization that recruiting is a huge part of being a head coach. And I can't sit here at that time, I can't sit here and say that I love it. And if you don't love something, it's awfully hard to be really good at it. I think amongst your interviews, your episodes, I think that a common theme is probably that the people that you talk to, they love what they do. So when you wake up in the morning, it doesn't feel like you're going to work. You're going to do something that you want to do. And I think that it just makes it easier to work. It makes it easier to put in that time to get where you want to go. I think that's really what led to my quote unquote career pivot into more of the front office than on the coaching side.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. It's such great insight because, even when, as you said, in any field, in any market, in any arena, depending on what you're doing, if you don't love what you do, it's really, it's like pulling teeth every day. It's kind of depressing, actually.
No question. You don't want to be a workaholic in life. I'll say that point blank. People may disagree with me, but it's not a good thing. But when you enjoy what you do, even when you're working a lot of hours, it doesn't feel like being a workaholic because you're truly like, I want to do this. When I go home, I'm spending time with my family and I try to put my phone away and put all that stuff away, but I can't say that my mind isn't always working on, hey, this problem or this opportunity or this challenge. even when could be completely disconnected from everything else, but I'm still thinking about those things. And I think that would only be the case if I enjoy what I'm doing. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't spend the mental time just thinking about it. On my morning run, I wouldn't, like, that's what I think about. I try not to think about running faster because that's just painful. So
That's funny that you say that too, because we often talk about that and about that morning time, the workout time being a great, like I work out every day too. And then before I do that, we walk the dogs. And so that's usually when I get a lot of my inspired ideas, or I work through conversations that I need to have with people, like how I'm going to, go through it. That seems to be the time that all that happens. So, but I agree with you on all of that about the loving what you do, and all of our people that come on here do truly love what they do. And I do think that's important. And when you figure that out, because so many people, we've talked about this so many times on this show, go through life working a job at 8 to 5 every day, and they absolutely hate what they do. And I cannot imagine, honestly, because I've been blessed to be able, and I'm not going to say that happened overnight, because it took me.
No question.
I was in a career for 20 something years and just left it and created a whole new business. And it's not an overnight thing, but I cannot imagine going to retirement and having worked a job that I absolutely despise every single day and getting up and just having to punch that clock and do that. Can you?
there's a point in your life where I think everyone has to do that.
Right.
And, we're fortunate that we've had the opportunity to grow within that type of career and get into things that we really, truly love and enjoy. So I think that having a means to an end, that like, I truly believe that everyone, it's healthy and good to go through that period of time where it's like, it is work and it is a grind and it's not necessarily something you enjoy. But if you can see where you want to go and be every day moving towards that, then it's worth it, and you can get to a place where you're truly doing what you love. And I say that every day you're working towards it. It's impossible to get from A to Z in a moment's decision, because you just can't make that leap. But if you make the decision and you go from A to partway to B, and the next day maybe you're closer to B, and the next day maybe you get to B, and if you do it every day, then you can get to the place you want to go.
That's good stuff. True stuff, Malcolm. Yeah. Good stuff. I had a question. I totally forgot what I was going to ask you. Oh, well, and not only that, Malcolm, I know that you do a lot, even aside from, the basketball, which I played some basketball. I didn't do college, but that was always my sport. I'm like a big fan of, from Houston, I'm a big fan of the Rockets. So especially back when they were like really doing good stuff back in the day. But anyways, aside from that, you do a lot with entrepreneurs, because I'm part of that organization. And I've actually attended, before the pandemic hit, I attended several of the events at the Legends. And then, of course, things changed for a while. But I want to talk a little bit about that, what you're doing for the entrepreneurs. And then we're going to come back to the Legends, what's special about them. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, what we're doing with small, medium businesses in our community, it is part of what the Legends are. So it all ties together, right? I believe very strongly that a sports team should not be only what it does on the court or on the field. If you're the Mavericks and all you do is your 41 home games, or the Cowboys and you just have your 8 home games, it's got to be about more than that. Sports should be about more than, in basketball, putting a round ball through a round goal. That's pretty shallow existence if that's all it's about. Or in football, taking this funny shaped ball and ramming into people to move it 2 feet further, closer to an end zone. And so like what we're doing in our community to bring small, medium, large companies together, we do it every month. We do it 3 times a month. And that's how we look at it, as this is a year-round endeavor that the Legends are about. And our community connections must live outside of our games. And that's part of what we're doing here with small and medium-sized businesses through all of our networking events, our Owners Club memberships, is we're getting people together and making a difference in our community. And that can mean, people doing business with one another. Perhaps more importantly, it can mean just helping one another. We had someone present, Kent LeGrand from In Touch Credit Union. He presented at a lunch that we held a couple months ago, and he literally asked the question, how many people in here are frustrated with our government? And, hey, what frustrations we may have, no matter what side of the aisle you may sit on, right? And people would raise their hand and say, I'm frustrated with this in Washington, D.C. or that. And he was simply using that to develop a common bond amongst all the people in the room. And he finished by saying that if you want to see change, you want to make our community better, you cannot look to Washington, D.C. or anybody else. You need to look at the people in this room, and you need to get mad. And he says, when I say mad, I don't mean emotional and upset. I mean, get mad and make a difference, using it as an acronym. And don't just sit there and complain, but get mad, make a difference to move towards the things that you want. And that's literally, I mean, I was like, that's a great embodiment of what the Legends are trying to do. We want to bring our community together where they can help one another, because especially through the pandemic, but you can do a lot more things that are good and great, both for our community and your business, when you're connecting with others, you're seeing them, you're shaking a hand, and you're finding out what drives them personally, what truly motivates them. And it's not always going and closing the next big deal. It can be, hey, would love to be able to partner and help out this charity. I got this elementary school that we're working with. They're struggling in this way. We can get together. I know a person and we can help out and make a difference in that way.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's relational building, really. And I think about it, we talked about that. We had a guest on one of our shows not too long ago where we were talking, Rob Bliss, we were talking about networking and how people underestimate the power of building relationships in business. And I always joke, we talk about LinkedIn, because I'm sure all of us are every day get hit up by somebody through LinkedIn that's trying to sell something. And I'm like, I don't know where they envision that we're going to build a relationship when I know 10 people that do what you do that I built a relationship with outside of that media, that source. So I'm with you on the whole relational building.
We have no interest in transactions, to be honest. It's like,
sure.
Let's get people in a room, connect with them, grow the relationship, and see where we can take things.
Yeah.
And I don't just look at that from our networking business development events. I look at that at our games. Someone once told me, the games for us, and perhaps we're at a size and a scope where we can do this, but it's not just come and sit there in your seats. It's have a good time, but it's personal, right? A person used the phrase, and perhaps our audience is too young to know this, but it's where everybody knows your name, right? Harken back to Cheers, right? Yeah. It's when you walk in and everyone knows that's this person, and you want to connect with them and introduce them to your other friend that you brought. And it's a personal feeling and not hey, I bought a ticket and I'm going to go to the game, sit there and go home. Yeah. That's just who we want to be, and that's the way we're going to operate.
That would have been a good moment to play some Cheers music, because now I got it stuck in my head. I'm going to be humming this all afternoon now. So Malcolm, I've been following you in LinkedIn, so I see some of your posts and all the excitement that's going on at these games and stuff. Tell us, so for people who've never been to the Legends game, what are they going to find at these games? Tell us what's going on here, because you guys got a lot of stuff happening.
They're going to find craziness. Look, I'm not sure I want to explain it, because I want people to come and experience it. I can honestly say that, like, I'm a basketball guy, right? I came up through college basketball. I'm as competitive as I'll get out. I want to win. But we, frankly, don't want our games to be only about the basketball.
Yeah.
We want our games to be, I got, 2 daughters and a son. Some of them don't have any, and they could care less about the basketball, win or lose, like whatever, right? And as they've gotten older, I can appreciate what a lot of our fans have said to me in the past, but it's very challenging to find an event, especially when your kids approach teenage years, where all members of the family unit can go and have a great time. Because their interests, as they age, become varied, right? I've got everything from a 4-year-old to a 16-year-old. So it's all over the map. And to have a family event where we can go and they all look forward to it. They may look forward to it for different reasons. They may have some different experiences while they're there, but they still have a shared experience, and they leave all being able to talk about their shared experience. And that's the memory that we want to create. So our games, the basketball is really good, but if you want to see the best basketball in the Metroplex, go to the Mavericks. We are never going to be as good as the Mavericks are on the court. We have some really good young players. They're fun to watch. They play hard as heck. But if you want to have the greatest entertainment for your family, then I think that we're the right fit. You can come out, and whether you're into basketball or not, don't worry about it. We're going to have some fun. Whether it be kids, putting me in a dunk tank and throwing a basketball and getting me all wet, I might get a squirt gun and squirt it back at them now. But these like things that you like don't traditionally think of at a sporting event,
Right.
That's what we want to be. That's who we are. We're a fun night out.
I'm sold. I'm
Fantastic.
In. Let's go. I'm ready. I cannot wait to
You
take my
have to
kids.
see the
I'm
photos.
serious.
Like follow him on
I'm
LinkedIn.
so
You have to
excited.
see the photos because it's definitely an experience. I don't know if I've been actually. I need to get to one. I haven't been to one yet. I've like I said, I've seen the photo. I feel like at some point I had, but
I have a 16 to an 8 too, so I have that kind of range as well. But I think this sounds so fun.
So bring the 16-year-old out. Let him or her bring a friend. Bring the 8-year-old out. They're going to have a blast. We got inflatables, hula hoops, coloring zones. Like, we really try to hit
I love it.
a gaming zone for the older kids. World's biggest slide. I'm telling you. That thing weighs 5,000 pounds, though. The setup and tear down is not so much fun. But that we don't make the fans do, okay? But we really try to have something for every age, for every demographic, even if you don't like basketball. My wife has called it a basketball country club. We can go, and I don't like the basketball. That's fine. I can go do all these other things socially, and that's what we want to be.
Oh wow, that's so great. I love it. Okay, I have a quick question for you. Well, I don't know if it's
I
quick.
probably have a
This
long
is going to
answer.
bring
so-
it. Okay, this is going to kind of bring it back to your experience. You mentioned you kind of evolved in your positions with the Texas Legends and weaved into this general manager role and now president. That I'm guessing, how many years have you been at the?
13.
Okay, so along those 13 years, and I know you mentioned the first 2 you were planning on
Leaving.
skedaddling.
Yeah.
Yes. But okay, between year 2 and year 13, did you have times as you were building the organization where you wanted to throw in the towel or you wanted to leave and maybe something kept you there, something kept you in the game? Or
I'm not really a throw in the towel kind of guy. Have there been challenges and things that were harder than maybe I thought they would be? Yes. But I personally, this isn't the team, but like personally, I think that I'm at my best. I thrive the most when I am in a corner and there may not be many ways out. Or a lot of people may say that's not possible. And, from a motivational standpoint, that definitely trips my trigger. Like, no, tell me again what I can't do, what we can't do.
it's like we're on it.
Yeah, I
told you
definitely
you're an
thrive on
achiever.
that.
Yeah,
You
see,
are
we
an
figured
achiever.
it out. We
I think
figured it
my
out.
staff are achievers, and I may occasionally help them, with some motivation. But other than my staff does all that. But I definitely enjoy that challenge. Like, I would say this. Have I been approached with jobs that would be easier? 100%. But I look at what we do, and we lead our league in all these categories, and that's great. Frankly, a lot of them don't matter to me very much. What matters a lot more to me is that we lead the league in community engagement and in smiles at our games and in original entertainment. Like, that's more important. But if it was easy, A, all these teams would do it, and B, I wouldn't enjoy it. So I like the challenge. I like that it's hard. And I like that we're unique. We're not trying to be the Mavericks. We're not trying to be the Cowboys. We will never compete with either one of those teams' impressions, broadcast views, merchandise sales, so on and so forth. But we're not trying to be them. We're trying to be us. And we're trying to do things that are different. And, I believe very strongly that there's a difference between going to a game and having a smile because you're having the experience you expected to have. sit in my seat, Cowboys score a touchdown, here it is. Like, I'm smiling, it's good. And I think there's a very different kind of smile that happens when something occurs that you didn't expect. When something happens that's like organic and authentic, and your kids are sharing that laugh and smile with you, it's different. And that's the type of entertainment that we want to be.
That's so great.
Yeah, good stuff, Malcolm.
Like putting a dunk tank in a basketball arena, which you think is easy, but that thing weighs a ton when you fill it with water. And I guarantee you, any dunk tank you've ever seen, they got leaks.
Yeah.
It's just they're always outside, so you don't notice. But when you put it inside an indoor venue, all of a sudden those leaks are little problems that you need to figure out.
Especially on a basketball court.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff, Malcolm. All right, Malcolm, I want to ask you a question. Being a leader, obviously you have a team that you're helping, and you keep talking about how they're the achievers, and I think you are too, because it does take a leader to make your team move. They do the work, but yes, you have to be great at leading people. So offering advice to somebody, somebody that is maybe going through something right now, I don't know what that is. We have a lot of entrepreneurs in here, but anybody that's maybe working on a challenge or trying to work to that next level, Chief, what advice would you offer them?
I think there's a lot of challenges in today's world, from hiring people to retaining people. And so my advice, I literally had a lunch with someone yesterday, and we talked about this, is simply don't do what you've always done. If something isn't working great, you can't be afraid to still have the same goal, still get have an objective of the same end result, but the way that you get there has to change. And it doesn't mean that as you do something different than you've done in the past, it doesn't mean it's going to work. But you can't be afraid to try it. Jump in, give it a whirl. You're going to learn something at the very least. And then you can pivot from that and adjust yet again until you start finding a new way to do things that gets you where you want to go. And look, I think, I've been doing with the Legends for 13 years. If you look at the last 20 years, I use the sports industry as an example, but the sports industry has changed a lot from, call it 2000, the year 2000 to the year 2020. Massive changes, which we can go through them and all that, but huge change. And now in the last 2 years, I would argue it's changed that much again. And it doesn't mean that the changes in the first 20 years don't matter. They absolutely do. But they happen so gradually that we could gradually pivot and adjust. And, all this is coming our way. We may have to deal with it the next few years. The last two, in looking ahead, there's been 20 years worth of changes yet again, but we have to approach what we're doing in a completely different way. There's no gradual change now. We need to adjust quickly and try something new to address those problems. So it's not some, fantastic quote or anything like that, but don't do it the same way you've always done it. If it's not working, just don't be afraid to try something different and new. It doesn't mean you have to do it that way forever. You might learn something new and adjust from there.
It's good advice, Malcolm. I agree with you.
I love it.
Some people get stuck, set in their ways, and that's why businesses fail a lot of times, because they're not willing to pivot. They keep just repeating the same patterns over and over and over. And it's funny, I'm working with an accelerator right now, and that was the topic of our conversation this morning, is just being, be willing to do something different and change, and stop thinking this is the only way that you're going to.
Sure. And you may have to collect information over a period of time.
Yeah.
I'm finding I'm working on a project and I'm trying something new with it, but I'm not going to just test it once. I need to test it several times to then receive information and evaluate and learn,
And people, go ahead.
Yeah, so many people are afraid of failure, so they don't want to try, and they don't realize that failure actually equals learning. You're going to learn from doing that failure. That's how things become great. And the hard thing is also people say, I don't want to do it because it's hard. We've all done hard.
Get over it.
It's only
Yeah,
hard.
get over
That's
that.
it,
If you don't want to do something because it's hard, you're in the wrong.
Exactly.
Whatever you're doing is the wrong thing to be doing.
Yeah.
The other thing to keep in mind is a lot of times people look at it like, well, if I change, I want to really think this through and get real detailed and dig into how I want to make this change. And I think all that's valid. But at some point, you have to jump in and do it. Yeah. I think the phrase is the enemy of progress is perfection. We can have an idea. The only way to make the idea truly better and eventually you get close to perfecting it is to just start.
Yeah.
Make the mistake. And that's fine because now we know the mistake and we can adjust and fix it. So my staff sometimes gets frustrated with me because I'm like, we'll cross those bridges when we get to them. We don't have to have all the answers to try something now, because the thing that we're afraid of might go wrong might be a total non-issue. And then we're spending all this time thinking about it. And I'm not saying don't plan ahead and have, contingencies in place. Like, those are good things to do and absolutely do them. But you can't not do something because, well, I'm not sure what will I do if this happens or that happens.
Yeah.
If it's not involving life and death.
Yeah, there can be a lot of hypotheticals
Go for
there. They get stuck on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you just
Don't
gotta-
get frozen.
Yeah, I'm not.
What is the Thomas Edison quote?
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and
something
over
like-
and
there's
expecting
one-
different results.
Well, there's one where he said, everyone asked him, was like, well, you failed 1,000 times. He goes, no, I just found 1,000 ways not to make a life.
Yeah, not to make a life.
So-
Yeah. If you really, that's how I approach everything. I'm kind of a jump in kind of person. I don't think a lot of things through, and I know it drives people crazy, but I learn every time. I'm either going to fall and I'm not going to do that again, or I get it right. That's the way I look at it. And when I see things, I just go, you know what? If we fall, we fall. We're going to get back up. You're not going to keep me down very long, that's for sure. I don't think any of us in this room are going to be kept down very long. So, great advice, Malcolm. Thanks for sharing all that.
Just trying to keep up.
Yeah. All right. I think we should do some
Fun
rapid fire.
questions.
We're going to switch gears and do some fun.
Okay,
Not that
I'm
these
ready.
weren't great. They were
I'm
all
ready.
great.
I'm ready.
Awesome
Whatever you got.
information. All right. You starting? You got something?
Sure. Okay. Favorite basketball team, like NBA basketball team.
Well, the Dallas Mavericks, of course, right?
Okay. Good.
That's a good answer. All right. Favorite food, Malcolm?
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
First concert.
U2.
I still love you too.
Wow, that's a really good first concert.
Favorite, maybe book that you've read. I'm sure you got several, but one that's coming to mind that you've read that's just kind of been.
I like to read. So, many years ago, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. More recently, The Obstacle is the Way.
He knows his books. See, I love that question. We get book lists from doing this. It's like I haven't heard of that one. So see, got a new book.
Bucket list travel destination.
My wife is the travel person, so wherever she wants to go.
Good answer.
That was a good.
I hope she's gonna tune in.
That was a good one. All
Just
right.
got points.
Yeah. Last question. What's in your Amazon cart?
I don't really use Amazon.
This is interesting. Yeah.
My wife does. So if I really want something, I just send her the link,
her the-
and she's got the fast delivery,
He
whatever that
likes to go to
setup
the
is.
store and build those.
Yeah,
big-
exactly.
That's good. That's good.
All business
Good job,
is
Chris.
local.
Yeah.
If you want to solve
Relationships.
things, you do it locally. So I'm not,
He's like, I need socks. I'm going to build a relationship.
like,
No, that's great. I always love to ask that question because it's so funny to get the answers from people. Like some people just use I can tell you there's stuff in mine all the time. And half the time I don't even know what's in it because my son puts it in there.
I try not to go on any of those
Yeah.
sites.
Well, that's amazing. It's been really wonderful
Yeah.
having you today.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. You guys do a fantastic job,
Thank
and
you.
you got quite the guest list.
Yeah, we're excited. And we to our listeners, if they want to come check out the Texas Legends, see what you guys are all about, where do we want to send them?
I'll just go to our website, texlegends.com. We got 7 different summer camps this summer. So if you're looking for a place for the kids to have a good time, be safe, learn something, and maybe get a little bit better at basketball, we're a great spot for that too.
Okay, we'll make sure when this goes out too that we get the link in there so that they know where to go.
No worries.
And check you out.
So
it's been fun.
textlegends.com, and is it Tex Legends on social media as well?
It's at Texas Legends, Twitter, Facebook, all that good
Okay,
stuff.
great.
So yeah.
Awesome.
They're all over the places.
Yay.
All right, we do want to say to our listeners, of course, if you enjoy our show, please be sure to give us a rating both on iTunes and Facebook. We can't do this without you.
Only give a rating if it's 5 stars.
That's right. Only if it's 5 stars. And hit that subscribe button on YouTube.
And I'm going to leave you with a motivational quote of the day. And I did change it.
Okay,
because
I'm
of
ready.
this conversation. Now, unfortunately, I don't know who said this. However, I'm going to say it anyway because it's good. It's not fun to fail, but it just might be the only way to succeed.
I would argue it's not it says it just might be. I'd say it is the only way to succeed.
Good job.
There you go.
Bam.
Mic, mic drop.
That's right.
He has spoken.
All right. In order to live the extraordinary, you must start, and every start begins with a decision. You guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We will see you next time.